Hi there, my name is Kimberly Allen, and I have been a member of Faith Baptist Church since October 2002. So in just a couple months, I will be coming up on 20 years of being a member here. For those of you who don't know me, my husband is Calvin, and I have three boys, Aaron, Dylan, and Jaden. I am originally from South Carolina. This is my husband's home church. I was fortunate enough to have been reached by the bus ministry there, and I've been in church ever since. So my family was reached through the bus ministry. I remember I was outside, and it was, if you've ever been to South Carolina, it is so hot. During the summer, I was outside. I had the cutest little pink bikini on, so imagine, and I was looking really cute as a 5-year-old. So I was outside playing, and I remember as a little girl, the bus would pass our house, and they would go down the road to this other family's house, and they would go on the bus every Sunday. So I was out, and we had this hose, and we were spraying each other, and I was getting wet, and this lady walks up, and she asked me if I wanted to go to church. I'm like, And I was not familiar with church. Prior to me being born, my parents were in the military, so they went to church on base. And I'm sure I went to church on base, but I don't remember that. So she invited myself and my brother, and we started going to church regularly. My parents were separated at that time, and my mom was later reached. One of the greatest things about the bus ministry is my mom, once they invited kids to church, of course they talked to their parents and got permission, but that parent's name was added to the list for Thursday night soul winning. So my bus captain and other people had gone by and visited her on Thursday night to witness to her. Praise the Lord, she was already saved. Oftentimes when I think of my salvation testimony, one word that comes to mind is investment. And as a Christian, we realize that salvation is that foundation of Christianity. Without salvation, all the other things are pretty much useless. So as I go back in my mind and I think of different things that have had an impact in my life, I think of investments along the way. I think of that bus worker who may have come on Saturday to visit me and asked me if I was going to come to church, or that bus captain that came back on Sunday to pick me up every week consistently. I remember as a little girl going to Sunday school, I always loved going to Sunday school. It was something that I looked forward to, and not like most kids, it wasn't for the candy or the treat, but I really loved going to Sunday school for the teachers. Every teacher I had along the way invested in me. You can tell it was something that they poured their life into, whether it be asking about my family or asking about how school was through the week, or just simply caring about me. So Sunday school was such a pivotal time for me. I knew that there were people that were pouring into me, and they invested in me, and they truly cared about me. I wasn't just another person on the list. Then I think about going through my younger teen years, and there were people along the way who, as a little girl in our home church, we had junior boys and girls soul winning. So on Thursday night, all the kids would go soul winning, and there were different adults in the church that volunteered to go out with a small group of kids in a local parking lot. And I always loved that time because there was a different person every week. But I'm thankful for those adults along the way that volunteered their time. They didn't go with their spouses, they didn't go with their families, they came with the kids because they wanted to be a blessing. So I remember thinking I was excited to find out who was going to go with us next, because that person obviously loved being with kids if you're going to take kids in a parking lot. But it was so exciting for me to be with different adults and just connect with them, people that I hadn't been familiar with. Then I think about my teenage years. I had people that invested, and they may have bought a candy bar for $5 or given me money to go to camp. And all along the way, like, I just think about people, once I got saved, that just poured into me. And as a Christian, that's something that we have to do. It's something that you can't just get saved and be done. And even if you're leading someone to the Lord, you don't just lead them to the Lord and, okay, you have salvation and they're done. You have to pour into those people and disciple them along the way. And as I think back through my salvation, I think about, wow, like there were several different people along the way that invested in me. Even as an adult, there are people that, if I'm praying for you, I'm praying for your family. They might give me, all different types of things. That investment is so important. As a little girl, I remember I was about 5 or 6 years old. I went to junior church, and I remember raising my hand, and this lady, she went through the plan of salvation with me. But here's the thing. I remember walking down the aisle, and people were excited, but I had no idea what happened. But as I grew, as more people were invested in me, I realized I wasn't saved. But by the time I realized that, I'm like, oh my goodness, I've been in church for a while. And I knew that I would be embarrassed. So my pride set in because I didn't want people to know. I didn't want people to realize, wow, she's been in church for such a long time and she's not saved. And I more so it was my mind. I knew people would be excited. I knew people would want to know that I was saved. But for me, it was more of a pride. Oh man, like I can't do this. Like they knew that I was saved. They knew that I got baptized. All of that. So it took from 5, 6, all the way until 1997. So 12 years of carrying that burden. And I say that to say this, it's such a heavy burden to bear. I remember going to camps and youth conference and them talking about salvation. And I knew that I wasn't saved, but I just sat there. But I praise the Lord for the investment of my youth pastor's wife and my youth pastor. We went to camp in 1997. And I was on the second row and I knew right away. I had to go to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom when I came back. But I knew that that was the night. I knew all along the way that if I were to die, whether it was like 10 or 11, 12, I was going to go straight to hell. I praise the Lord so much for my youth pastor and my youth pastor's wife because at that time they were working a job outside of the church also. So there were times when they would take us to camp and different things, and they didn't have to do that, but they did it because they wanted to invest in a group of teenagers. That night, August 8th, which is coming up soon, I would have been saved since 1997. So I'm so thankful for that. Then one of the things I just really want to share with you to challenge you tonight is that investing in others is so important. As Christians, we need to realize that we don't just need to take and take and take and hold that all to ourselves. There are so many people that come across our path throughout our life that we need to pour into. Now, I don't mean you have to give your whole self. It could be something small, whether a note, a smile, an encouragement, whatever that is, that can be life-changing for that person. So I challenge you today, make it a point to invest in others because you never know what your return will be.